All right, coming up on this episode of Bro, Do You Even Talk Pinball? We're going to discuss Haggis's pinball reveal of Fathom Revisited. We're also going to do a segment on haikus because we know everybody likes that. That's not even a joke. And then last but not least, we're going to review Doctor Who Pinball. All that and more coming right up.
Double super jackpot!
I need a ramp. I need a loop. I want targets I can hit. I need the scoop. I need a double super jackpot in my life. That's right.
And now, the Hall & Oates of pinball podcasting, Nick Lane and Kevin Manny of Buffalo Pinball. Whoa, boom shakalaka. It's us. What's going on, everybody? It's another month, another hot stream for you guys with the latest pinball news. Kevin Manny here. Nick Lane on the other end. What's going on, Nick?
It's hot because Kevin says it's hot. It's a hot stream.
You got to tell
so-
people it's hot. Otherwise,
look at
how are
that.
they going to know?
I'm the cameraman. Cameraman, to get a little pan on me, that's better. Thank
That's
you.
right. What's going on? We got vaccinated this month, right?
Well, this is going next week. I'll be ready to be released into the wild.
Yeah, I was just talking to our
Technically.
buddy Nick. I'm gonna go out and play
That's
my
it.
first new pinball in a year plus.
Yeah.
Gonna go try Avengers. He got into the pandemic. He got into the operating business and put a machine out there. So
Yeah.
I'll go play Avengers Pro. Looking forward to that. It'll be my first time playing that.
He's doing the Lord's work.
He is. So Nick's gonna eventually come over and play some Guns N' Roses and some Heist.
Yeah, soon.
Man.
Soon you're gonna see Nick and Kevin in the same room playing pinball together. What is going on? What's that shit?
Then eventually we're gonna do a bro show.
Yeah.
That'll be
Maybe
fun.
soon. I mean, we're getting there. Like a couple of weeks away. Maybe we'll play some. We'll do a special bro show to celebrate being vaccinated. So we're getting there, man. We're almost there.
We
I'm
just
excited.
need 4 vaccinated bros, and then we can do it. I think it's gonna
That's
be you, me, Martha, Jay. We all got vaccinated like pretty much on the same 48 hours.
Yeah. Jeff might be vaccinated. Rob's vaccinated. So
Oh, Rob
we
too,
can
yeah.
we can have everybody.
Yeah, I know Jeff's a little behind. He's a couple weeks behind, I think, but
He always is a little behind in life, though. Isn't that right?
yep, that's right.
He doesn't
Awesome.
listen to this.
Well, here's the part everybody really waits for. It's time to thank our partners. I think it's time for me to do the read, right?
Go ahead.
All right. Kicking it off, Pin Stadium. If you didn't check it out, check out our recent stream that we did with the brand new Pin Stadium concert editions for Guns N' Roses. They're awesome because they integrate with the hot rails, so you know the rails that go down the side of the pinball machine. You tap into those for the pin stadiums, and it brings the hot rails to the top, fills the whole play field with the light. It's really cool stuff. Check them out. Pinstadium.com. Use coupon code Buffalo to save 10%. The Mod Couple, if you want to mod your pinball machine, make it look great, check out themodcouplepinball.com. Flipping out, if you're looking to buy a new pinball machine, Flip N Out Pinball, the letter N, flipnoutpinball.com. Zach will take care of you. Got all sorts of brand new pinball machines. He takes machines in on trade, so you can you can trade up to a newer game or buy a used one. Check them out. Pinside went down last month, and we all realized how much we missed it when it wasn't around. So if you love Pinside, you missed Pinside when it was down, make a donation, hook them up. It's a great resource. I was able to go on there within the past week or so and got some help on fixing one of my games, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So great stuff over there at pinside.com. Jersey Jack Pinball, you know them, you love them. They make the greatest pinball machines, the most beautiful pinball machines, the most fun to play, the best machines for your house. I love them. I've got 5 of them now because I like them so much. JerseyJackPinball.com. Pinball EDU, if you want to win a brand new Stern pinball machine, visit pinballraffle.org. Support Joe Said and his great inclusive arcade, Spinners Pinball, with your entry into the pinball raffle. You can win a brand new Stern machine that's currently in production. Community Beer Works. I just saw on Facebook they're making a comeback. They're remodeling. They're ready to come out of this pandemic, kicking and screaming and roaring and all that fun stuff. CommunityBeerWorks.com. If you're in Buffalo and you want to grab a beer, head on over there. Tilt Cycle. Check out tiltcycle.com to get some awesome art for your pinball arcade, your game room, your living room, wherever you want to put it. He takes old pinball parts. He goes and he like dumpster dives for trash pinball parts, and he turns them into amazing artwork. So if you've seen the playfield I've hanging on my wall, I've got a couple other pieces of art that have been transformed by Dan Burfield over at tiltcycle.com. Comment Pinball, you want to make your pinball machines look great, put LEDs in your inserts and your GI. Update your old pinball machine, make it look modern, make it stand up with your Guns N' Roses with the hot rails and the pin stadiums. Go to commentpinball.com. You can get kits, full Comet LED kits, or you can get individual bulbs. You can buy them in bulk. They've got the matrix system where you can add your own custom lighting to specific little parts of your pinball machines. Love their products. Check them out. Comment Pinball. The Pinball Mix, pinballmix.com. Save 10% and get a free Easter egg when you use coupon code Buffalo at Pinball Mix. You can take your Tron and take it to the next level like mine. Or if you got a big buck hunter and you want to put, I don't know, what would you put on your big buck hunter?
I thought about it, and I've got nothing.
Got
so
nothing.
it's just going to stick with the song on there.
Chat's going to have to help us out with that. Show tunes. There you go. Show tunes on your big buck hunter. You can do it.
Of course, Goren says show tunes.
At pinballmix.com. And finally, Titan Pinball, makers of silicone rings to replace the rubber rings on your pinball machine. They hold up great. They look great. You can clean them up. They reduce the amount of dirt and rubber garbage on your pinball playfields.
That's important.
It is. You don't want garbage on your playfield. TitanPinball.com. Use coupon code Buffalo to save 10% on Titan competition rings, and also get a Titan mat. You can't use your coupon code on that, but while you're getting it, you should definitely get one of those because they're awesome. Boom. That's our part.
You did it, Kevin. Good job.
All right, let's do some news.
Here's the tip.
Right.
It's the latest
Kick it
pinball
off, then.
news. So hot, it's on fire.
Thank you, Tim. So up first is Fathom is being re-released by Haggis Pinball. So if you've ever
Was this a rumor, or was this a rumor beforehand, or was this a surprise to people?
It was a surprise. I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard a lot of typically there's rumor mill stuff where people are saying Mandalorian and Godzilla and Back to the Future. These are all definitely confirmed coming from Stern next. No, didn't hear anything about that from our friends over at Haggis. They're redoing Bally's Fathom. They're doing two editions of this game. They're doing a classic edition and a Mermaid Edition. Classic edition is just like, let's remake the original Bally Fathom with updated art or updated mechanics, and basically you want a brand new in box Fathom. That's the one you want to get. They're also making a Mermaid Edition, which is limited to 250 machines, and that has the original Fathom plus an updated 2.0 rule set. It's got some RGB, so the numeric displays on the back, they're full RGB, and also has apron where the instruction cards would go. There's LCD screens there. So it's got a whole nother rule set. It's got fancy art, special trim. So if you're looking at the pictures on the stream, the ones you're seeing here are these are pictures of the Mermaid Edition prototype. So very fancy. It's got this crazy art on the side that is reflective and looks cool. It looks like a Fathom, but brand new, which is cool, right? The pricing is Classic Edition is 9,500 Australian dollars, which comes out to about 7,300 US dollars for the standard edition, the Classic Edition. And then the Mermaid Edition, which is the version with the updated rules and all that fancy stuff, is $11,500 Australian, or just under $9,000 US. So that's pricey for a Fathom, if you ask me. What do you think?
Well, we've talked about Fathom in general before, as I think you and I like the game. It's a fun game. It's a great looking game. And we would talk about like restored Fathoms going for like $5,000. And I remember talking about it on the stream. I talked about it on the podcast, but it was like, yeah, I mean, when you get into something like even just $5,000 for like a restored Fathom, and they're probably more than that, right? It's just like you get into this range where you're competing against like a new Stern, right? That just offers a hell of a lot more in so many ways. So I think it's fantastic that Haggis is doing this. I think it's a smart move because it's a very well liked and respected game. I think for the average pinball buyer or the average person who's into pinball and will buy pinball machines, I think it's just way too much for what you're getting. I don't think Haggis is doing anything wrong by this. They need to make money. They need to charge the appropriate price to make this, but it is like of no interest to me other than like it's great that there's more Fathoms out there. At what price point would I be interested in? Well, if there's a $4,000 Fathom that I can buy, sure, that's new, because I'm pricing it not what it and that's probably not in the realm of reality, but I'm considering. Look, you can get for $5,600, you can get a brand new stern, which is usually there's a license to it, like a real maybe expensive license, assets, and then they've got to design the visuals now. They're on the LCD. You've got the soundtrack, you've got more toys and mechs in the game, all that stuff, and you're like, okay, $5,600. Fathom is missing all that, right? It's just a basic rules. It's a long time ago for pinball. We've come a long way. Doesn't mean it's not fun, but the amount of mileage you're going to get out of it for the price doesn't add up. So I think this is great for the Richie Riches or the Fathom super fans, but for most of us and most of the people listening to this, it's great that there's more Fathoms in the world, but it's not going to get my money, unfortunately.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they priced it that way because they don't want to get a ton of orders. Because coming into this game, they've previously made Celts, which to my knowledge they've shipped exactly one Celts. They went to Dr. John in Australia, so they've only built one production pinball machine.
Really?
There's more orders of that coming, but it got delayed because of the pandemic and stuff like that. So it's not like they have a massive manufacturing facility or anything like that. So maybe it's like, sure, we can either make X number of dollars on 200 games if we price it higher, or we can make that same amount on 500 or 750 games if we price it lower. But then we're not really tooled up for producing more, so we're gonna lose the number of sales, but maybe the overall revenue that comes in is the same at if they just price it higher and ship a couple fewer.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get that this is the number that they probably have to do to make it happen, and the amount of volume that they could do. I think I'd be more excited if like Stern was doing this, or what is it, Chicago Gaming, and they found a way to make this. Okay, let's even say $5,000. $5,000, then I'm going, man, do I want a Fathom for $5,000, a brand new Fathom? Like maybe, because they can do it for that price point, right? Because of the investment, that they can do it and still make some money. So then it becomes interesting. But as it is right now, this does nothing for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that's the other interesting. You mentioned Chicago Gaming. I think that's the other interesting point to bring up is, they had been exclusively working with Chicago Gaming on doing these remakes. And now they're partnering up with another manufacturer. So there's not like an exclusivity there for CGC that, there's another company that's able to get these. Maybe they're just going to focus on the older licenses and do the classic Ballys, and CGC is going to do the more modern games. Who knows? Or maybe CGC's out of it and they're going to make their own new games from now on, because there's a rumor that they're making a new game. So who knows? So it's cool to see these classic games that have this high demand. Fathom is one of these games that is just like you've said, the price has gone through the roof on it, so it makes sense. Kind of like Medieval Madness when CGC did that one first. It was a no-brainer for that to be the first game because it was so expensive, and actually they were able to come in under what it was going for at the market price. So I think that came out at like $8,000 and it was selling for around 10 at the time. So everybody was like, "Yep, let's go in, let's get a brand new one for even less." So it made a lot of sense. But let's go. I wanted to jump back to so the flyer has the game features and the model matrix. So the classic edition, you get cabinet mounted 3.5-inch display for service menu, full RGB LEDs, inserts, and general illumination. That's for both. Full RGB 7-segment score displays on both, so you get the RGB score displays on both. Brushed stainless steel, brushed trim and components on the classic, a single 6-inch speaker, and the original 1981 rule set. So those are classic edition. So exclusive Mermaid Edition stuff is enhanced 2.0 rule set with new callouts and music, mirrored stainless steel trim, mirrored playfield components, custom 5-speaker sound system, Reflecto Cab metallic reflective luminescent cabinet art, dual apron 6.8-inch LCD screens, and ambient below cabinet lighting. So there's some nice upgrades. You know, you get everything all mirrored out and looking good. So there's a lot of collectors who like that stuff, and they'll willingly pay the extra for it. So the other thing so I listened to the podcast on Pinball Profile, and the folks from Haggis were on there, and they were talking about how not only are they going to do Fathom, they're going to do 4 more Bally classic games. So they have an agreement to do 5 total classic Ballys. You can. This was weird to me. Like, I would never do this, but obviously, again, this is not I'm not the market for this. So you could, if you want to reserve, say, number 25 for all 5 of these classic Bally games, you can pre-order them now. $1,500 deposit each, and you'll be guaranteed to be in on the run for the entire run. 5 games. They haven't announced what the other 4 games are, and I don't know, like, if it's going to have 2.0 rules. We haven't seen what the 2.0 rules are, and I think they've pretty much sold out of the classic, the Mermaid editions. So, like, to throw like $9,000 at it's like, cool, I want the new rules. Well, like, what if they stink? You know, what if it's not fun? Right. You know, it'd be nice.
And this is an unproven company too. You know what I mean? Like, they have yet to prove themselves, so you're taking a risk.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they come across as being legit. They're not out there like Robert Mueller saying this is easy or anything like that. You know, they admit that it's hard.
First shitting on Deeproot. Well, how far are we into this podcast?
We made it like almost 20 minutes, so we did it.
All right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of risk there, and we've seen that with pinball. It's especially if you're going to grab a 5-game classic ticket. They say the money goes in escrow and they'll never touch it, and if the games don't come out, you'll get your money back. But, you know, you hand over money, you never really know what's going to happen to it. So if you got the money, cool, go for it. They seem like good guys, and hopefully they can pull it off.
Look, I wish them well. I think what they're doing for their business makes sense. You know, for my interest, it's too bad. Unless one day I just have more money than I know what to do with. If I was in that position, and the games worked and they're legit, I'd probably get one, right? I'm not. That's not me. That's not most people. Somebody brought up a good point I think it was in the VR gaming Discord. See how I did that?
That's the first VR comment.
Yeah, there you go. And they were talking about it, and it might have been Ian Harwer, and he said, like, look, those classic Ballys have a distinct feel to the flippers, right? Like, so this remake has to nail that. It's got to feel like the most important thing on this. I don't care what they put in the trim and whatever the 2.0. It's got to feel like a Bally. I should be able to step up to it, and it's got to feel 100%. It can't be like 95%, because if I'm paying that kind of money for a remake, that's what it is. Those Bally, the flippers, there's almost like a little delay on them compared. They're distinct from the Williams at the time. They're way distinct from games today. It's gotta fucking feel like that for it to be legit and real, because that's the way you really interact with a pinball machine, is the feel of it.
I guarantee it's not going to feel the same. It's running on totally different hardware, totally different modern hardware.
And to me, it's like, I don't care. You've got a pretty looking Nightlight Fathom, but it's not. I'd rather have a restored Fathom, which I could probably get cheaper than the remake if it doesn't feel like the real thing.
Yeah. Skip makes a good point. Will you be able to reliably tap pass? Because it's so critical on those Bally games being able to tap
and you
pass.
have to do that. If like that fails, like if they come out and you can't tap pass on it, then it's a failure, in my opinion.
Yep.
Plain and simple. You did not recreate the game. You've got the paint job, you got the lights, whatever. It's not the same thing. And that's what you need to, you're missing the most important thing. And again, you can get remakes on or restored ones cheaper maybe than this right now. So that's where I would put my money personally.
Depends on the level of restore, right? If you get a high-end pins restore, it's going to be more probably. Or if you get a refresh, a shop out, a nice looking version with maybe a hard top or something like that, then it'll be a little cheaper. But you know,
Christopher Pinturn asked if I got a Zeppelin. Yeah, I was never in on Zeppelin, but as he said he would get a Zeppelin over Fathom, and I would too. Right? Like, I mean, if you're talking about where you spend money.
Yeah. So this is the crowd that like buys the collector's edition games and the top
Sure.
level games. They just want to have the best of the best. It doesn't matter what it costs.
It's a trophy too,
Right.
more than any. It's a trophy first and foremost, and that doesn't mean they don't love pinball and play pinball. But number one, trophy flexing. Number two is everything else, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know the CGC remakes, they don't feel exactly the same as the originals either. But I think it's less critical on a modern game as long as you got good strong flippers and you can make the shots. But it's not going to feel the same. It's different hardware. Sorry. It's just not.
You got a different game. You don't have a Fathom. Like
Right.
you need to port. This is the Fathom remake.
Yeah,
right?
you got the new Fathom. Cool. All right. Well, that's Fathom Revisited. Looking forward to seeing more of that when they start showing off the updated rule sets and stuff like that. Hopefully, we'll see some streams soon. So, all right. Up next is the big final heist. So, since our last podcast, Multimorphic released this massive update for Heist, which I talked about a little bit last time, but I wasn't able to kind of talk freely about it because it hadn't been revealed yet. But I was helping play test it. So it brings in a whole like second, I guess it's like the third act of the story, right? You bring in the end where you actually like go in and you pull off the heist on Mr. Big. So it's like a 6 stage wizard mode where you all the characters you've collected throughout the standard gameplay, you and depending on how well you did, they have special abilities that can help you along the way. And each one gets a stage. You play through that. It tells the story of pulling off the heist on Mr. Big. Really cool. So I just highlighted the 15-ball multiball. So I did a run through of the big final heist. At the end of the big final heist is a 15-ball multiball. So sorry, Apollo 13, not the most balls in a multiball anymore. That goes to heist. It does a really cool so it doesn't just dump them all out at once. It drops them all one at a time, gives you about a second to fire them off, and then it's just like chaos and madness and keeping it going as long as you can to collect all the jackpots. So if you want to check that out, that's on our YouTube channel, also on our Twitch channel. I highlighted it over there. Highly recommended. I like this because it does this is only something you could pull off on the P3, right? Getting narrative, like storyline, telling a story on the screen, on the play field, and then the way the different modes work, they're all very specific to different features of the P3, especially the cat burglar mode, where you're avoiding the lasers and shooting the scoops. Really cool stuff. Great choreography throughout it, and then when it's loading up the 15 balls behind the crane, you just know it's about to go down. So kudos to Multimorphic for really putting the finishing touch on this. I'm really looking forward to seeing, since Nick hasn't played this yet. I've been talking about it for a year now, almost. And eventually, soon he's going to get to play it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what his thoughts are on this game once he finally gets to flip it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I can't wait to hear Nick's thoughts.
maybe next month. All right. So that's the big final heist. Check that out if you got a Multimorphic P3. All right. Other companies have issued a whole bunch of code updates, including the Big Lebowski. Who the heck saw that coming? But they're up to 0.55 on Lebowski code, which adds extra ball opportunities, bonus multipliers, nihilist showdown add-a-ball, and various other improvements in rules, diagnostics, animations, audio, and toys. Rick and Morty from Spooky Pinball has a new version which adds the Goodbye Moonmen adventure with additional settings and polish. JJP keeps going back and adding more, all of its games to the Wi-Fi Bluetooth functionality. So I installed that on Hobbit. They just did it for Woz, so I think that's everything except dialed in right now, which already had Bluetooth. But I don't think they've done the Wi-Fi for that yet. And what's cool is, so they opened up the beta channel to everybody on Guns N' Roses, and they issued an update that I forget the actual technical term for it, but it basically, people have been putting those fans on their flipper coils because they've been getting warm. And this is a software update to address that. So
On what game?
on Guns N' Roses, and a lot of actually Rick and Morty. Skip had him on his Hobbit.
Fans on the flipper coil? Like they're overheating?
Yeah, to cool it. You know how flippers fade after a while.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like when you say that, I think of an all-day tournament, and you're like an hour 6 out of 8,
Right.
when it becomes a thing. But are you saying that it happens much sooner on some of these games?
Yeah, it's after. So basically, if I was streaming, I don't know, if Guns N' Roses or whatever, after an hour or so, you could tell the difference. Like the flippers were not as strong as they had been.
Okay.
So Pinmonk was the one that was developing these flipper cooling fans. But if JJP can just issue code updates that fix it, then that'll be great.
Yeah. Does it make the flippers weaker?
No, it just like pulses them differently or something.
Oh yeah, that's the real solution, right? I mean, that's the let's do that.
So yeah, let's fix the problem instead of just. I mean, you might want to get the cooling fans anyways if you're running tournaments or whatever. But Flipper Fade's been around forever. But like you said, it's usually a long, extensive play over a whole day of people pounding on a game.
Yeah.
So that is JJP. Avengers Infinity Quest. Sorry. Added polish and bug fixes. That's version 1.01. And Led Zeppelin hit 1.0, which adds band boost, diamond record, improved choreography, and polish. So get out there and update your pinball machines. I will say the Wi-Fi updates make it so easy. You push a couple buttons on your machine and then it updates itself. It's so much nicer. So it's good to see them adding that to all their games.
Welcome to this century.
Exactly, JGP. Hopefully everybody else jumps in.
My JGP games can now mine Bitcoin.
There you go. Not Ethereum.
While I play.
Not Ethereum.
It mines it quicker when you hit the flippers.
That's right.
You get multi-ball. Whoa.
That's the way to get Nick playing his pinball machines even more.
Yeah.
Let's get some Bitcoin going. All right. Next is. Have you seen this picture, Nick?
Yeah, I kind of love it. I think it's amazing. Like I looked at that and I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
you like it?
I love it.
You have
I
the
think
same
it's great.
thing?
Yeah,
it's pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about is on the Pinball Hall of Fame. It's just this white background on this huge exterior that just says pinball in red letters. It's like, love it.
It's like
Fucking
60 feet tall or something insane like that. It's crazy. It's huge.
I have a huge smile on my face because as someone who can appreciate marketing and like what grabs attention and stuff, and just like this simplicity behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's like the less is more, right?
Yep.
Although I don't know if you can also say that's the last one. It's so big, but it's stark, it's huge, it's hard to miss, and it's pretty phenomenal.
Leaves nothing to question. This is at the Pinball Hall of Fame, right on the Las Vegas Strip now, right by the Las Vegas sign. So it's gonna fit right in with all of the gaudiness of Vegas, and just it's gonna hit you over the head with it, and you're gonna go by and you're gonna say, they have pinball there, because that's all it says. I love it. So the Pinball Hall of Fame recently reopened. They're on the Strip now. Got a bunch of games going in there. They had done a soft launch to open it up, and now I think they're kind of getting into the full swing over there. So if you're in Vegas and you want to play pinball, look for the massive pinball sign and go in there and play. So
do it.
There you go. Up next, Pinball Brothers has shipped the first Alien, and this is a photo of, they posted this on Twitter a couple days ago, of a line of the Alien machines. There's an unboxing video on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's the YouTube channel's Retro Sengo. You can check that out over there. And he walks you through the unboxing process. So as you know, we've talked about this before, a little bit different than the Highway Pinball release, but same basic gameplay, same layout, some slight tweaks to the playfield. There's no screen in the playfield anymore, and I think there's like an added magnet to help set up an over flipper shot and things like that. There's a different ball lock mechanism too, I want to say. I haven't been following Alien super closely, but hey, they're putting them together, they're shipping them. To be determined how well they hold up, how well they support their games, all that stuff. It's, a new manufacturer is always a little bit of a, I hesitate a little bit to just throw a bunch of money at a brand new manufacturer, but they got to prove themselves. They have to have a little bit of a track record. I want other people to share their experiences with the game, but at least if you've played the Highway Pinball version, you kind of know what you're getting into gameplay wise. It is a fun game. It's
how much is it, Kev? Do you know?
I don't remember. It's actually not that expensive. Maybe check and There you go. Have some saxophone. Yeah, if anybody in chat knows how much they cost, let us know. But yeah, I think they were like in the $7,000 to $8,000 range. So
Not crazy.
yeah. So there you go. If you want an alien, you've been pining for an alien, you can grab one now. Maybe. It was careless. Thank you. Spooky Pinball's expanding. They're adding on to their manufacturing facility out there in Benton, Wisconsin. So good to see some growth of the boutique. They're going to be less boutique soon, and they're going to be more major, I think, if they keep at it like this. But
Are they going to jettison the hot glue guns? That means
that's when they do that, then you'll know they've stepped it up to the full big time, not boutique anymore.
Well, seriously, congrats to them. I kid, but I say I respect the fact of their success, what they've been able to do, and they didn't come into pinball and shit on all the other manufacturers and pretend they got it all figured out. They got base hits, right? Sometimes laying down a bunt, but they this is why they're still around, right? Like I'm not into their games per se because I don't want a boutique, but they're surviving, they're making games, and they're making people happy. So good on them, and I wish them well in their progress.
Yeah, they're doing the slow and steady growth, right? They're not coming out and hiring 30 designers and we don't need to get into the deeper thing yet, but you know where I'm going with that. They're not blowing their horn and saying, we're the best, we're gonna revolutionize everything, we're gonna reinvent everything.
Is it blowing the horn or tooting a horn?
Tooting their horn, blowing their whatever, doing their stuff. You know how that goes. You know the saying.
No, I know the saying. I'm just wondering about what the differentiation is.
It can be whatever you want it to be. It's whatever.
This is what I care about, Kevin.
That's right.
This is when it's another light news thing. I want to make these distinctions.
Okay. We'll let you figure that out.
All right. You want to move on?
I'm done. We talked about Pinside going down. That brings us to what everybody wants to get. That's what everybody tunes in for. It's your monthly Deeproot update, but it's not going to be monthly for a while. Because
eventually we're going to have no Deeproot updates because they're going to be out of business, but continue.
All right. Let's go over to here. We didn't get this in the I'm gonna get my windows out of the way here. Here we go. Okay. So this came out like right after our last podcast. And we'll just do a read along. Here we go. Dear Raza customer, that's Retro Atomic Zombie Adventureland if you're new. Hope all is well. As promised, we wanted to provide a timely update about where things are now. The latest we have from the lab is that the UL for the USA and Canada reports are being prepared. We have passed the SAA requirements and 95% of the CE requirements. While product safety have passed, the emissions and interface test metrics for a few of the CE countries require additional modifications. We are still being told it will take 4 to 5 weeks for the final CE certification reports after our fixes pass the tests. The UL reports should be herein in the next few weeks, which allow us to move forward on those machines. This is really difficult to read. We continue to appreciate many of our vendors being able to timely get us quality parts to spec. Unfortunately, some vendors are still having issues with global and regional supply chain disruptions. We thank you again for your patience. Despite the past, we don't want to be known as the company that customers can rely on for delays. Our entire team is very cognizant of that, and we are working hard to be accountable for lead and timelines. We are coming up on 5 months now since we opened up orders. When our teams were confident they could delivery, that's what it says, they could delivery by February to March. We definitely are frustrated at our inability to follow through and overcome the internal and external obstacles. While some things are outside of our control, we understand the importance of delivering on the promises made. As such, it now doesn't make any sense to make more Raza machines than orders. Okay. With current lead times on certifications and parts, there will not be any significant updates in the next 6 weeks. Our goal is to update in mid-May at that time, if games are not imminently ready to start shipping, to offer some financial relief for the delays in the form of a return of store credit, discount of the Raza purchase, or allow customers to rescind Raza purchases for a refund with nominal interest. To those on this mail list that are not Raza customers but are waiting for surplus machines, we are so sorry that there will no longer be surplus machines. However, if some Raza customers decide to rescind their contracts, we will offer those first come, first served machines to the list for the original prices. Please do not contact us about this yet. We will only be able to provide an idea of availability closer to the end of May once purchasers decide if they want to rescind their purchase.
Yeah, don't worry. No one's contacting about these machines.
Nobody
No one
wants
wants this dumpster fire.
So, what are the takeaways? It's going to be 6 weeks between updates now, so no update until May.
Oh, that's going to hurt our content
I
for
know.
the
We're
show.
going to have no update next
They're
month.
kind of fucking us now.
I know. What else? They're not making any more than, so before they were originally going to produce, a few extra on top of the ones that they had ordered, but now they're not going to do that. It's going to be again, this was the same line they had. It was 4 to 5 weeks after the certification was passed, then it would be ready. That's pretty much it. Can't get parts. Don't have parts. Okay, there you go. You can get some sort of a refund if you want, or store credit or a discount, or you can say you don't want your game anymore and get some money back. I don't know. That's your Raza update.
So more bad news.
More of the same, basically.
More of the same. More of no. You know what it is? It's more of reality catching up with the bullshit rhetoric. That's all it is.
It's true. You can only talk your way
as you said it before. Life comes at you pretty fast.
It does. So speaking of Deeproot, Nick had a little project he put together.
Yeah, well, let me put a disclaimer, Vic. If you're just kind of a newer viewer, listener, and you're like, guys, why do you keep on fucking talking about Deeproot, shitting on them and making jokes? So you get a bunch of assholes, aren't you? Here's the deal. Deeproot came out 3 or 4 years ago, pretending like they had all the answers, right? They're like Moses coming down from the mountain with the 10 Commandments. They got it all figured out, right? Like all the other manufacturers are stupid and they suck, and they're gonna make the best pinball games ever. They're gonna release 12 a year, like all this bullshit. And if they weren't so cocky and spewed and shit on all the other manufacturers, then we wouldn't have this attitude. But this is what's going on. And I've been in on a game before that I almost lost a lot of money on. This was not with Raza. It was on Lebowski. So this is a more, learning segment that we will beat the drum every time to be very careful. And, Deeproot is not going to be the last company that tries to start up and create pinball. So the lesson here is pinball is hard. Pinball is not easy. Don't come out cocky. Get some base hits. Don't be a dick. Do what Haggis is doing. Haggis is base hits. They're being smart, right?
Right.
So we're gonna hammer on that lesson because we're trying to help people out, both somebody who might want to start a company, but mostly the consumers thinking about being tempted to purchase a game that doesn't exist or believing bullshit rhetoric. So that's my kind of preamble. That's my disclaimer, my warning. Off to having some fun. So my idea was to highlight this. This is not my idea.
That's true.
This is highlighting our very talented viewers, followers. I think one thing that keeps this really going is the fact that we have an awesome community. Like we have we're really lucky that I think we entertain people and inform them, but it comes back to us too in the way that our viewers, fans, followers engage with us. So thank you, because they created. I don't know how this even got started, but at some point a month ago, there started appearing haikus about Deeproot in our Discord. So if you're not in Discord, go join that and interact with everybody. But I said to Kevin, let's bring this to light and share this on the podcast. So maybe this is not going to be like a regular episode, but maybe I'll have a part 2 of the Deeproot haikus. And I said maybe in Deeproot we finally have the funeral for that company. Can honor them with some Sarah McLachlan soundtrack and read some haikus kind of deal. So we're going to kick this off. Let me switch over here. So what is a haiku? Let me just read the brief definition so you understand the parameters that we're operating with. It's a Japanese poem of 17 syllables, 3 lines of 5, 7, and 5, traditionally evoking images of the natural world. Well, there's nothing natural about pinball, so we're going to forego the tradition. But this is going to follow the haiku format in terms of the 3 lines of 5, 7, and 5 syllables. Now, I didn't go over it like a nerd with a fine-tooth comb to see if these violated that. So if somebody wants to write to us, talkpinball@gmail.com, let us know. You can. I'm not going to give a shit, but you can. It's the option's yours. All right. So the way we're going to do this is I'll read the person who wrote this and the one that Kevin will alternate. Sometimes people have multiple ones in the row. I just pulled it by the way it was listed yesterday in Discord. There were some really good ones from a month ago, but I didn't want to necessarily read them without permission. So again, maybe we'll highlight. I pulled a couple of them, but I'm just going by what was out yesterday. Okay, so this is from Wildcat. He's going to have a number of these. He'll pop up again. So Wildcat says, coronavirus, Suez Canal blocked by boat, bullshit excuses.
Nice. All right. So this next one's from Good Authority, aka Slappy. His goes, pointy lockdown bar? We can manufacture it. Oops, turns out we can't. I like that one. All right. Do I read his second one, or are you
read the
this
second one?
Okay.
Yeah.
This is his second one. Update is coming. Oh boy, here comes the update. There is no update.
Again, these are all accurate, entertaining, and a warning to everybody. Okay. New of ad. Pinball is easy. New company with 2 games. Haggis, not Deeproot. Oh, shit.
That's a good one.
Shit.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I didn't see Haggis sponsoring tournaments 4 years ago.
Every
and yet
home
they
needs a pinball.
manufactured some games.
Every pinball needs a home, right? Good Authority. Maybe next quarter. If by next quarter you mean not in this lifetime.
Oh, shit. Brought in a Guns N' Roses, a machine that's actually manufactured and selling quite well. Also, I remember Deeproot was shitting on JJP. Threw a bunch of shade at JJP and Stern, and yet they're cranking out machines left and right. They probably put out, between the two companies, 20 games since Deeproot went to 20 titles. So, yeah. All right, Wildcat again. He's kind of crushing it. You'll see a lot of Wildcat. You could just see this kind of inspiration that he had, because there's a number of them I'm going to read. Magic Girl warned us, J-pop is a total hack. Bob, not much better.
Mm-hmm.
All joking aside, if we have learned anything, it's Octo bullshit. What's the Octo? There's some reference to Octo.
Remember his Octo manufacturing?
Oh, just give a little background quickly for everybody, because I kind of missed that joke.
So I don't remember exactly how it went, but I think it was on This Week in Pinball. They had done an interview with Robert, and they asked him about, do you have a manufacturing facility built? And, it was, hyperbole to the max, where it was like, you don't need, at first it was quad manufacturing. And then he's like, we don't need, we've stepped it up, and now we have Octo manufacturing, and no context of like what that is or what that entails.
Sure. This is how you know somebody's bullshitting in life in general, right? When they're just saying this kind of ridiculous shit and they have nothing to for it. All right, so that's good. All right, continue with Wildcat. But on the bright side, we don't have to sit through the Pinball Twins again. What's the Pinball Twins? I'm missing some of these good jokes.
Pinball Twins were at the Stern Circuit Finals. It was the guy from Impractical Jokers and the one guy from Kevin Smith's World.
Oh, okay.
They were just
I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that. All right, and then the last one. I mean, I think there's more Wildcat, but the last one, his segment. All things considered, the bar is now much lower, below Thunderbirds. Oh shit!
That's pretty bad.
Oh shit! It is pretty bad. It is pretty bad.
All right. This is Rod. I hope Rod's here. I love Rod.
What's his toast says they trapped Doc Ock and forced him to work on our manufacturing floor.
It's when they have the octopuses come in and start putting your pinball machine together. So Rod, fire and brimstone. Is there a pinball in heaven? No, because God ain't real.
Mm-hmm.
Please read my haikus, as I'm the 6th buffalo. I love Wonkandonks. You know what Wonkandonks is?
I don't know what. You gotta explain a lot.
It's another buffalo meme. You're not in on the memes. We even have.
No, I'm not a huge meme guy, though. To be honest.
Hang on, I'll put it in the chat. There you go. Wonk the donk. That's that's what you call it when you play Willy Wonka pinball. It means you're Wonk the donk.
Okay.
All right. Poor NS pinball just wanted sexy Oompa. Death by toothpick.
That's lost. I think that's like some inside baseball stuff that I'm missing.
More Buffalo stuff, yeah. Buffalo Discord for all your good entertainment purposes.
That's for the hardcore.
Yeah.
All right. Attack says, Hinges, raise your glass, toasting the pinball machines that will never be.
Cheers. I'm raising my glass. Herney, that's Skip Natty. Hinges, raise your glass. Toasting
no,
the
it's not him. No, it's
no.
not.
Herney says, they said he's cuckoo, but now he just go QQ. Robert, he's so sad.
What's QQ?
That's crying.
Oh, okay, that's good. I like that. All right, attack again. Updates did desist. Innovations have been ceased. Douche is eternal. I like how he just just comes out the end. You're like, okay, where's this going? And then boom. It's just like that's poetry. Mwah.
Nailed it.
All right. Do you think right now we're the most hated podcast? But I mean, like everybody shits on Deeproot. I'm guessing. I don't listen to pinball podcasts, but I'm guessing this is nothing new. Do you think we're like number one?
We gotta be, right?
We got. We're trying to be number one in that. Like there needs to be a award category for the biggest shitters of Deeproot, the podcast. I mean, fucking get that. And there's no justice in the world if you don't. All right. This is also attack. Dozens of titles ready at launch. Said Robert. Forever alone.
I like this one from Herney. Skip, he says, if pinball I seek, to Texas I must retreat, buying a P3. There's one manufacturer in Texas that's building machines.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yep.
All right, good authority. Ra's up for grabs. No, not the pinball machine, the civil lawsuit.
All right, another one from Wildcat. Making great content, way easier for podcasts than making pinball.
It's true. If there's one thing that Deeproot's been good for, it's content.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is there's hours of content that they generated for us. So thank you guys.
They really got us through this the lull of the pandemic.
Thank you for the millions of dollars you sunk in so that we can just talk nonsense and make like $2. But thank you. That's great.
Thank you.
I'll take it. Money's got to go somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Good authority. Deeproot refund check. Sorry we lied to you all. Just kidding. Get wrecked.
Haiku from Wildcat. Haiku's on Discord, giving us more enjoyment than Deeproot games can.
And truth is, man, Wildcat just speaks the truth.
Yeah.
A good authority. Never forget that Deeproot's first logo was a ball gag in the butt cheeks. True.
It was.
Another one from it. Hashtag innovate. Hashtag pinball is easy. Hashtag business fraud.
All right, and then we got a couple of our own to wrap it up here.
We're wrapping up of our own. There we go. Kevin, take yours away.
So here's mine. Coronavirus didn't stop other makers, killed Deeproot Pinball.
Convenient excuse. That's the thing though that's going to get them. They're already big. Oh, we would have brought to the world the best pinball machines ever, but this 1 in 100 year event. That's the reason. It's not poor planning.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's probably the best thing that's happened to them. All right, here's mine. I'm going to own all Deeproot games produced, which amounts to none.
And ladies and gentlemen,
And
that's
scene.
your Deeproot Haiku reading for the month. Stay with us for the next update.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody in Discord. It was a good time. And,
Yeah, you guys crushed it.
Some levity for all of our days when we're supposed to be working, but instead we're doing haikus. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to our updates. So first thing I just want to give a quick shout out. We did our 12 games in 12 hours marathon this month. Awesome support from the community. We gave away all sorts of good stuff. Buffalo pinball hats, some JJP t-shirts. The Girl Geek won a Upper Playfield from Guns N' Roses. She lives in Chicago, was able to go and pick that up, right, and get a little tour of the facility. So, and she got to play GNR. So that was a win-win-win. Yeah. And let's see, what else did we give away? The Pin Stadiums, the Neo Pin Stadiums. So that went to, I can't remember. I don't remember who won everything, but everybody's received their gifts, their prizes. Thank you guys so much for all the support we've had. This is by far the best month we've had as far as subscriber support. So it's really been, we've been able to unlock a bunch of new emotes. If you follow us on Twitch, you can spam all sorts of fun new stuff in chat, like a UR. If you want to really get somebody good, somebody says something, you can just be like UR, right? Like Scribble did. And there you go. So thank you so much. Had a great day. There's a lot of meat mountains consumed. We got, did Tuna get Portal? I think he did. He always gets Portal, so I'm sure he did. We played some Guns N' Roses, some Heist, Adams. Good mix of machines. So hope you guys had fun, and thank you again for your support on that.
Amen.
Game review updates. I got a couple. So I've been doing a lot of working on games this week in particular. I've become an expert on servos in pinball machines. I had one of my spotlight servos on Guns N' Roses died, so they sent me a new one, no charge, which is great, with very good instructions on how to replace it. Pretty straightforward. So basically, it would go up and down, but not left and right. My left one, my right one works fine. So I replaced the left and right servo, and now it's working good, and it moves all the way around like it should. The other one was on Heist, the crane. So the first time I streamed the 15-ball multi-ball, it just kind of what would happen is the little arm would come. It's supposed to come down and stop after every ball. So like pause the ball, release one, pause, release, pause, release. What would happen is it would release one, and then it would like hit the next one on the top, and then it would move up and just stay up, and then all the balls came dumping down. So it needed a new, what they call a horn on the servo. Just basically, it's this plastic gear that you take off, put the new gear on, put the arm back on there. Did a little Loctite on the screw, and it was good. I streamed it yesterday so everybody could see what it's really supposed to look like. Was it a pain to replace the servos? No, they both JJP and Multimorphic had really good instructions on how to replace them. So if you're somewhat good with mechanical things, you'll have no problem swapping it out if that's something you need to do. What was the other thing? Oh, Hobbit. So I talked in the ad read about getting some help for my Hobbit. So my lights have been locking up on Hobbit, and I thought I had it figured out at one point by replacing one of the, so under the playfield, there's the big bag board, which they call, they kind of like tells all the little sub boards what to light up and when. Then I had to replace one of the breakout boards, RGB breakout boards, and it had worked for a while, and then it eventually started locking up again. So I did some troubleshooting. So I was like, okay, the second board is bad. Let me get a new one. And then eventually that one stopped working too. And I was like, something's killing these boards. Something's going on, like making these lock up like this. So I'd been thinking about it forever, and I was like, I need to just go and post on Pinside and see who else is having these problems, if anybody else is having this problem, and maybe somebody can help me. And what was funny was I had like 5 different people either DM me or post in the thread saying, oh, I had this exact same problem, and this is what fixed it. But it was like 5 different solutions that fixed the problem. So I tried a couple of them. I swapped the USB cable to a different USB port. I had already swapped that cable out. It didn't, I don't think that made a difference, but I put it in a different port just to try it. I reseated connectors on the power, on the computer in the bottom of the cabinet. Leor from Leor's Mod said that's what he had done to fix his. And then RLM, viewer of ours, said it's probably the smog mouth. Like if you have it closed too much, it binds up and then it sends a bunch of power back to the boards, which ends up locking out the boards. So I'm suspecting that's what it is. So I disconnected Smaug and played a bunch of games without him connected. So he wouldn't turn left or right or open his mouth or anything like that. That ended up being good. I played, a couple hours worth of games with it like that. And then I slowly plugged things back in. So I plugged in his LEDs. It played fine like that. I ended up plugging back in his motors, and then I adjusted the values on his mouth so it doesn't close quite as tight and doesn't open as much. So there's not as much movement in his mouth. And it seems to be working. So if you have a Hobbit, and I know a lot of folks seem to have this problem with that, I'm guessing it's tied to the Smaug mouth. But that was just what worked for me. So if you're at home and you're going, it's locking up, I wish I knew how to fix it, give that a try. Maybe it'll help you guys out as well. So that was the extent of my fixes. And then I also, today I asked Nick, can we postpone the podcast, because I wanted to buy this thing. We're gonna get, how Nick likes to get into VR. We're gonna get into retro gaming nerd territory here.
I'll see you guys.
With
break.
It's a device called the RetroTink 5X. Basically, to cut to the chase, it takes your old video game consoles and makes them look really good on your TV, your modern 4K TV or flat screen TV. So I got one of these devices they went on sale at noon today, and they were sold out in like 7 minutes. So I was like, let's just postpone the podcast so I can get this. I got 3 new Jaguar games coming this week. I wanted to have it for that, so everything looks great when I play those. So yeah, that was fun. I was able to grab one and looking forward to getting that. Apparently they got them in stock and they're going to start shipping immediately. So imagine that. You buy a product and it ships immediately. You don't have to wait like a year when you buy a pinball machine sometimes. So there you go. Those are my game room updates.
It was funny. Like I was thinking about this the other day. Like I'm not into retro stuff at all. Like period. But there's a lot of people who are like into retro stuff. But I'm into like future stuff. Like I need like to look forward and to get in early on stuff. That's why I think like I gravitate towards VR. And no retro. Like you and I are like opposite with that, I think.
Yeah. Like I like modern gaming too, but I also when I play retro stuff, a lot of like I'm getting new games for my old system, so it's not like I'm just replaying old games. That's what's cool about the Jaguar is that there's like this whole homebrew community that makes new games. So I find that really interesting for these like homebrew developers, and I don't know, it reminds me of the P3 in that way too. Like anybody can make a game for it. It's like this platform that, you can just kind of like do whatever you want and get creative and try new things. So I find that interesting. Obviously, the games aren't as immersive or involved as a modern game, but I enjoy both.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting. I don't have that like mindset at all. I just lack that in like my personality, right? Like personality type kind of deal.
Yep. For sure.
So yeah, my updates. I wrote this in Discord and stuff. I stopped I love doing the Friday at noon lunchtime streams, and the cool thing is that's like, to me, that's like a permanent thing. That's like my permanent time slot now, because the way my office is working, I will be able to continue working from home like half the month or roughly half the month, even when things go back to normal. So I can do that, and I've got a lot of energy at that time. It's a nice break from work, but I had to stop doing that because my back is fucked up. I think I've got sciatic nerve pain or sciatica, and it's been bothering me for a while, and it just hit like a fever pitch within the last month. Like I was telling Kevin earlier before we started the podcast, I've been trying to do some stretching and some exercises for it, and I was like down on the ground maybe a week or two ago, and I was in such a position that I was just like howling out in pain anywhere I moved, and it was like doing a puzzle. Like, how can I get up from the ground? Like I was worried I couldn't. It's like grabbing the chair and pulling myself up in a way that didn't hurt. So pinball's tough because standing hurts a lot. So I've had to kind of stop playing a lot of VR. And I can't play pinball without like even just moving the machine, and like a lot of like hip movements and throwing your body into it. So that's been bad. And I'm trying to heal up and get better. And I think I'm making some progress. So I'm hoping in a few weeks to resume that. I mean, I'm hoping like the end of May I get better because I want to get out and golf and do all that fun stuff. So I just wanted to update on that. So yeah, no real game room updates. I still got games that need to be fixed. I'm looking forward to, like I guess with the vaccine, I can maybe get a pinball repair person over. I can't even hold a playfield up because I think that bad for my back. So I just got to take it slow. But again, I'm excited because I think we're starting to come out from all this and get back to normal. And as we get back to normal, my excitement for pinball goes up because it is a social thing about the community. Other than that, I mean, I've been playing some Killer Queen Black. I joined a Killer Queen Black league. I've been playing a lot of Hunt Showdown, things that I can sit down and play games. That's kind of been where I'm at. VR, they asked me VR yoga, Nick. So I used to do some yoga. I think yoga, I'm going to start doing yoga on a permanent basis once I'm better. I think some yoga things like stretching could actually make it worse, and some could make it better. So I'm going to do that. Listen, take care of your back. I don't know how I messed it up. Who knows? I was swinging kettlebells around for a while. Might have done it there. I don't know, but it sucks. I've never felt old in my life until my back got messed up, and then I felt like this must be what it feels like. Sucks. But yeah, I used to do yoga in my 20s. I did it here and there in my 30s, but it's that's the answer to me when I'm better. I'm gonna do it like several times a week. That part of my routine. Do some DD. So Diamond Dallas Page is gonna be
Woo!
Exactly. Diamond hands, bro.
That's right.
So yeah. I know we'll get better. It'll get better. We'll be there. All right.
All right. Well, that's the end of our game room update. So it's review time, and when it's review time, we gotta play this. So here we go.
Let's go!
life is a bore, the least I've gotten waiting for. Are you ready, 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 ready for your eye exam?
This month's review is Doctor Who. It's a 1992 Bally game with design by Barry Ausler, Bill Futzenreiter. They're the designers. Art by Linda Deal. Bill Futzenreiter did software. Sound by John Hay. And pricing, according to the current Pinside price range, is about $3,000 to about $3,500. And who knows, with the pandemic, prices have gone crazy. But at least the Pinside pricing guide kind of gives us a go-to place to price these games. It may be a little higher than that right now, but so yeah, this is a little background on this and my personal experience with it. This is a game. This was like, I think my second game. I think this is the second game I owned. Anyway, anyways, it's the longest standing game in my collection. I still have one. It's over there in the corner. I've recently done some. Recently, like a year ago, I did the Comet LED kit on it. It's got the GI OCD or an LED OCD on there, so the lighting still looks great. We'll talk more about the lighting in a little bit. We've done it on the Bro Show a bunch. We had it on the front page of Twitch when it was Doctor Who week or Doctor Who month or whatever that was that one time. So it's got a special place. I had never played it before I got mine. It came up, I think I found it on Craigslist or something, and it was in New Jersey. And I did a road trip out to this doctor's house in New Jersey in like the mid 2010s. It was like, maybe 2014, 2015, something around there. And I picked this up, and it was funny at the time. I remember the guy saying, I have a basement full of all these games, and I just had to sell them now because they can't possibly go up any higher in price than what they are now. When I got this from this guy, and this game is like doubled in value since I got it from him. So pinball pricing is crazy, but this is Doctor Who. Nick, I remember. Did you have it, or Phil had a Doctor Who, right?
Oh yeah, Phil had the Doctor Who that was at Reciprocal Skateboards.
Oh, nice.
And what's notable about it's too bad he sold it. I mean, and what's notable about that, I mean, Reciprocal Skateboards was an awesome place, for the record, in the city. But what's notable about that one is that when Matt Smith on the TV show Doctor Who was the current Doctor, he was down there playing it along with I'm blanking on the female actress's name. Was like his partner or whatever, but she was down there too. And I mean, she's gone on to just do a lot of stuff too these days. But there was a video online. It's probably still on YouTube. Doctor Who actually played that Doctor Who machine. Phil had it for a while. I don't watch Doctor Who anymore. I used to in the early 2010s or whatever. But it's kind of a nice history thing. I kind of wish I owned it or bought that from Phil and just had it so I could be like, yeah, this is Doctor Who's played this game.
Yeah, I remember that video now that you mentioned it. I had forgotten his was the one that was in that game. They signed it too, right?
I don't think they signed it.
No?
That's the thing.
Okay.
I mean, if they signed it, then it would have been like I would have moved heaven and earth probably to keep that one. But it's like without it signed, you sort of just have a story.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know the story, and that's all that matters, right? If you want to keep it as a keepsake. But yeah, I kind of wish I had that in my collection.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's talk about art on Doctor Who. So this is the backlash. This is a backlash that a lot of folks replace but I kind of like the original. For this review, I actually took pictures of my own game. So the pictures you're going to see of my games. But I kind of like the original art. I don't know. For the most part, I prefer to keep my pins original with like art and sound and stuff like that. Rare occasions I'll change stuff like that. But
did you know that's not the original art? You know the backlash story?
I don't. Well, I think I probably have heard this, but I don't remember it. So I want you to lay it on us.
I really wish I prepped for this because I just remembered it as we're talking about it, right? So I read this probably like 9 years ago, and I actually found the link. I'll put it in chat for everybody, so I'll put it there so you can check it out. So I'm not going to be able to give a detailed history, but you could see in that link what the original backlash was. This game used to be in kind of the other Bally style cabinet, and the backlash was different. And for some reason, from what I remember, at some reason at the final hour, they had to change the art. So this is why the art kind of sucks on it. It doesn't, I don't think it looks that good. I think the original Backlash that was intended for this game looks much better.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't
oh yeah,
know.
it had the
Are you seeing
different
it now?
backlash.
Yeah.
So it had like Gilligan's Island style back box, right? That's what that is.
Yeah.
Where it has the art kind of surrounds the dot matrix display, and then there's the speakers are at the top. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't remember if I've seen this before, but it's got basically the Doctor heads surrounding the Doctor Who logo, which was pretty cool. And then
they had one on test location, I guess, in that style, and that's when they had that other backlash. But I'll probably read the history after this again because it was an interesting story. So I would encourage people to look it up. But yeah, I think the art sucks on the backlash, and I think the story again is like they had to change it kind of the final hour. This is what you get.
Yep.
Sort of like it's like the World Poker Tour story. I think that backlash was changed in the final hour, and that's why you get a shitty backlash. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
How does this happen? Well, there's a story.
The reason why I wouldn't change this to like an alternate backlash is there's a lot of flashers and blinking lights in the back that so like the Doctor Who logo like animates with the lights and things like that. And if you change it to a different art layout, then none of those lights pair up where they're supposed to. It's just going to be like weird random blinking lights instead of highlighting the art in the way that it was intended. So that's why I wouldn't change it from this. But I obviously, yeah, seeing the original art, it's a lot better than what you ended up getting on the production machine, at least as far as the backlash is concerned. So here's the cabinet. One thing to note on this game is if you're looking to buy one or you have one, a lot of times the art will fade on the side. That was pretty common. I know we talked about this when we talked about Fishtails. The art fades on the side, especially the reds. So this one that I found the photo of, this is the one photo that I didn't take off my own machine because I couldn't get to the sides of it. Yeah, mine, one of the sides, my left side is faded more than my right, and the front is pretty well faded on mine with the reds, but the blues and the yellows end up being good. So if you see a game and it looks this sharp and with the reds, it's either a really well preserved original or it's more likely a redecaled art on the sides and the front and stuff. So one thing to look out for when you're buying the game. But yeah, it's just got like the Doctor Who logo and this like explosion look on the side with stars and like a starburst effect on the side and in the front. Pretty cool. Pretty, it was pretty common for that era to just have like a big logo on the side. You think of like Addams Family, it's just got a big logo with some other complementary arts next to it. What else? Here's the playfield.
I think the cabinet's good for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean,
like the cabinet artwork
gets the job done, right? It's not bad. It's not great. It gets the job done.
So sometimes like the cabinet artwork can get so busy and you can throw a lot of shit on it. I think it's what it needs to be. Ace.
Yeah, considering in that time it was all these went into arcades, so you had to for one, it's going to go into a lineup and you're never going to see the side art for in most instances. And maybe when the game first gets there, they put it on an end cap and you can see it from all sides. And then it's like, oh, that's a Doctor Who game. I'll go play that. And that's, if it draws somebody over because of the name, then it's mission accomplished, right? So here's the playfield art. It's got what's that guy? The master in the middle there. He's kind of the
Kevin Manny looking guy.
Yeah. Before I shaved my head, crossed arms with a cape on, bunch of Daleks around him. What I really like about the lower art on this is, and you really notice this when you're streaming it, when you look at it from the top down, the Daleks on the slingshots integrate perfectly with the art. It's really well done. So it just looks like this row of Daleks from the top. And then, it's got good lines that kind of guide you to where you need to shoot the ball. The different doctors all over the playfield that point to their shots, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the rules of the game. But the doctors on the playfield correspond to how you play the game and some of the pre-game selection and choices you have to make when you're playing this. So that's from the left side. There's from the right side. A lot of yellows and blacks. That's kind of the predominant color down around the flipper area, and then there's dark blues and So it's not a super busy playfield. There's a lot of areas of the playfield where it's just a dark blue with some stars and stuff. So it's not overly busy or cluttered. Lots of inserts. You got that whole grid of inserts in front of the time expander back there. But that's pretty much the art. What do you think about the art?
Yeah, I like the art in this game. Other than the back glass, I like the art.
Yeah, that's good. So let me jump back to our deal here. That's the art. Sound is where this game gets a lot of flack for its sound, especially for the screaming Daleks. People, especially if you don't know Doctor Who, it's like, why is this game screaming at me so much?
It's so good. If you know Doctor Who, it's so good, but it's also like the quality of the sound, right? It is sort of plays into the issue of it. It's very like a muddled, like early digitalization of sound, right? In a pinball machine where it's like, the technology for the time that this came out with doesn't translate well into the game. So it kind of gets muddled, but it's also so bad it's good in some way. Yeah, as Obi Drunken Obi says, super rough voice over quality transfer, and that's what you get. It's like, it's just sort of like muddled. It deserves better.
Yeah,
it deserves better is what I'm trying to say.
It also like so if you're playing through the video modes, like the deeper you get into the video modes, the louder the screaming gets. So
I do like that. I miss that about pinball, man. I miss pinball amping up the sound during certain moments, right? That was like I think now we do that with light shows.
Mm-hmm.
But there were games back in the day that some games, it's like, I'm going to show that this is an important moment. Like, I think like Twilight Zone, right? When you get the jackpot, how it just gets louder. Like, why did we forget about that? I know maybe it's tough at a bar or public location. People might hate that, but I think we can bring that back a little bit.
You gotta get the hype going when you're on
or
location.
Setting, like a setting, right? It should be a setting. Put it like the default setting is like louder sound hype build up, and let us turn it off. But
yeah,
I digress.
Lord of the Rings does that too. Like during the multiballs, it gets really loud. It's like, amp it up and show off if you're doing well in the arcade, or get you excited if you're playing at home. I like it. Maybe if you're next to the kid's bedroom and they're sleeping, maybe not so much. But yeah, if you got the option, then there's that. So the music is it's like a MIDI rendition of the Doctor Who song. For the most part, I'm trying to think if there's different music in there, but that's what stands out the most.
Yeah, good music, good theme. Yeah,
yeah.
It's very good theme integration with this game. Very very good theme integration. Low
It's
quality
got-
sound, but they also killed it by bringing in the as Obi-Wan Kenobi said, they brought in the actors for it. So,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they were doing things right. It's just early, it's limited by technology essentially.
Yeah, for sure. They were pushing it for what they were able to do for the time. They were like
Yeah.
it does a good job of it taunts you. So there's a Dalek topper on the top, and it'll talk trash while it doesn't just scream exterminate. It's like, where is the doctor? And it's kind of egging you on as you play. So I like that aspect of it. It's like the Black Knight sort of rage before he existed in his current form. There is like a lot of vocal call outs and guidance to what you should be doing, or the one really cool sound moment is the sonic boom, especially if you got a subwoofer hooked up to it. So if you hit 10 upper loops,
it sounds good.
Yeah,
I gotta hand it to it. Yeah.
It does a big boom when you hit that 10th one, and then you can do the 3 ramp combo to cash it out. It's really good. So it's got some good pinball sound moments in addition to the one moment that really gets on everybody's nerves. So if you can overlook that, or if you're a Doctor Who fan, you'll understand why it makes the sounds it makes, right? It's just like the quality isn't there as you would want it these days.
Right.
Toys. So this game has one of the coolest toys in pinball.
Mm-hmm.
It's the time expander. So you see it in the back of the machine here. But here's a close up. So it's like in this. Where is it? I don't have one with it down. Do I have? No, I don't. So it starts out flat. So it starts out level with the playfield, and you have to hit the 2 locks on either side in the back. Once you hit those 2 locks, it raises up to this level, which you're seeing on the screen if you're watching the video. Which, if you've played Pinbot or Bride of Pinbot, or no, Jackbot is the other one that has it. Pinbot or Jackbot, where it's got the bank of targets in the front and then the grid of lights in front of that. You need to hit those targets to light up the grid in front. And then once you light up the grid, it raises up to the third level, which is these 3 scoops with the Daleks on there. You want to ideally hit the one in the middle for your maximum jackpot value. But once you hit that, then it's off to the races. You're off and playing multiball. So actually, the multiball starts and then it goes up. Because then once the balls are in play, then you want to cash it out. So yeah, one of the craziest mechanical devices in a pinball machine. I don't know how you can't love this one, right?
I think it's really cool, man. I mean, this is a real interactive toy. Like, this is how you do it. It really is.
And there's a warning. I took a picture of this when I had the glass off taking pictures. So if you have the glass off and you turn the machine on, it'll issue this warning that the mini playfield will crush your fingers. It won't stop if it's going down and it's
decapitated fingers.
Yeah, it's gonna just crush your fingers. So
painful just fucking thinking about it.
Yeah. So word of warning: if you're working on your Doctor Who, turn the power off before you start playing with the mini playfield. Because
for the love of God, don't decapitate your fingers, please.
It's not gonna stop if you stick your finger in there. It's just gonna keep going. So there you go. Keep hands away, and it yells at you too. It's like, keep hands away from mini playfield. See manual title page for more information.
Now you can't sue us.
That's right. We warned you. And there's all sorts of like warning sound effects and stuff. So it really lets you know. It's hard to miss. But so the thing is, like, I think some operators and stuff, there's a switch when you slide the glass off that opens up, so it knows the glass is off. So if that switch is not there, and an operator took it off fingers. Or whatever, you're not going to get this warning, and you're not going to know. So be careful. Be careful. That's our public service announcement for
the more you know.
For Doctor Who. What's next? So that's toys. Display and lighting. So the display is, we're looking at it here. Standard dot matrix, upgradable to color DMD, as almost all dot matrix displays are. I think it's good, especially in color. What really stood out is so it's got all the different doctors in there when you're doing the video mode. So there's a video mode where you're spending a lot of time looking at the screen. It's got some cool renderings of the Doctor Who logo, and they kind of zoom in. Trying to think of other. Oh, what's cool is when you have the mini playfield up, it puts the 3 Daleks on the screen, and when you shoot the shot, it blows them up on the screen too. So there's good integration of the playfield action and the screen up above. I think for the time, it's one of the best.
It definitely is. I mean, it's got a video mode too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a good display.
Yeah, good display, well done, well executed. The lighting is actually really good on this game, and that's why I got the LED OCD, because it's got lots of good fading effects. That kind of slowly pulls up and down in the back box too. And I didn't want to lose that, because sometimes if you're not familiar with it, when you put LEDs in a machine, they have 2 states. They have on and off. Whereas incandescents, the standard bulbs, they can take a little time to warm up to full brightness. So when they turn on, it takes a little time for them to transition from off to on. So you get slow fading effects, which if you switch to just LEDs, sometimes you can lose that depending on how the game is lit or how it's programmed. So this game, I wanted to keep that. So there's a board you can get called an LED OCD board that kind of tricks the LEDs into doing these fades, and it does a really good job. And I think for the time, it's got one of the best light shows. Really cool effects. Like I mentioned before, the back box has all sorts of different bulbs that blink and flashers all over the place. So really good light show. I like it a lot.
Yeah, agreed. Good for the time, especially when you put that in context.
Yeah, for sure. Gameplay. So let's talk about gameplay. Gameplay is how we shoot the game. Nick, why don't you take away on gameplay? I've been talking a lot.
Well, if I had to describe this game to somebody and they're familiar with pinball, I said, look, it's kind of the Pinbot layout, kind of, not exactly, but there's elements of Pinbot in this game, but it also has some design differences, such as the flipper on the left side. So that's the upper flipper on the left side is really nice because you can get into these kind of loops and they feel really good. That's a sonic boom thing. I think, Kevin, you really got to get your game dialed in, right? Otherwise, it can make that a more miserable or an easier experience. But I think one of the most satisfying things about the game is, and a way to approach it is hitting that upper loop and just comboing and hitting it over again. Extremely satisfying, kind of rhythmic. You're in the flow, in the zone element of the game. And then if you choose to play or playing it other ways or ignoring that or just going for other objectives, you've got this kind of wide open play field. At least everything's kind of far back with the God, I just said what the thing's called.
The time expander.
The time expander. That's way back there, right? Kind of pounding on it, hitting it, trying to open it up, and then you're hitting specific kind of targeted shots to get it into the Daleks. So it's got kind of, for it's not a wide body game, but it's got a lot going on in gameplay. I think it just shoots really well. It's a smartly designed game. It takes, I think, maybe some of the interesting good things about Pinbot and makes it better, in my opinion. It gets rid of maybe some of the bad elements. It's also got lightning flippers on it, so it's a challenging game. It's not necessarily a long ball game. So it's a tough game. It's a challenging game. It's got some flow. It's got the other elements of coming back to you after you hit the time expander. I think it's really good. It kind of accomplishes a lot of things to it. Like, typically a game might be flow or non-flow. This kind of has a little bit of both going on, which is cool.
Yeah, you can get like awesome combos going, or you can do a little more dangerous play where you're shooting at the time expander and trying to go for the multi-ball, or taking a shot through the orbit, trying to get the video mode, and maybe it goes in and maybe it comes out and puts you in danger. One thing that I want to mention on the playfield layout is when you shoot the upper loop, it can do two things. It can either come to the left flipper, or there's a diverter on the ramp.
That's right.
That'll feed it to the upper flipper. So once you start shooting that upper flipper shot, it'll keep feeding the upper flipper shot until you get 10 upper flipper loop combos, and then that's when you get your sonic boom, and then it's going to put you into the who combo, where it'll drop it down to the left flipper, the lower left flipper. You can shoot it up the right ramp, shoot it to the far left shot, the H shot, and then you shoot the O shot, the upper side ramp. For
some nice combos and flow. Like when you get in the flow in this game and you're grooving, it's a really good feeling.
Yeah. So you can also just do who combos. So if you start before you shoot the far left shot, kind of behind the upper flipper there, if you shoot the right ramp, that'll put you into combo mode. So it's gonna, instead of feeding the upper flipper, it's gonna send it to the lower left flipper, so you can keep hitting the three big combo as much as you can. And there's a good way to build up value there too. So that's it. I think you got your pop uppers in the back left. The plunge kind of goes into the TARDIS and feeds your right flipper, so it doesn't shoot it to the back of the game. It shoots it right to your flipper, so you can start taking shots right away. So really interesting, fun layout on this game. I like it a lot. So let's jump into the gameplay, and I think this is a game where this game really shines. So it's not like a mode-based game. It's definitely a score-based game.
Talk about rules or gameplay?
Rules.
Okay.
So yeah, let's talk about rules. Gameplay was the playfield layout. So rules. Yeah. So let me show you where is it? So before you plunge, it's going to give you an opportunity to select one of your doctors, which is number 1 through 7 on the back box underneath the DMD. Each one of them will have a different perk that you can start out with, and eventually, as you play, if you're playing well, you can collect up to all 7 doctors. So Doctor 7, for example, when you're trying to shoot the grid of lights in front of the time expander, if you have Doctor 7 selected, then you only have to shoot. It gives you like 2 or 3 shots every time you take one shot. So it's going to fill up that grid a lot faster. So if you're going for multi-ball, he's your guy. But before you have 2 balls locked, it doesn't really make sense to have him going, because he doesn't benefit you until that bank of targets is raised up and you're able to start bashing those targets. So maybe you start with Dr. 6. Dr. 6 takes your playfield multiplier. So every time you hit that upper loop, the side ramp there, every time you hit the side ramp, it's going to increase. So if you're looking at the playfield on the stream, there's a grid of lights kind of in an arrow pointing to the side ramp, and like it's 1.5x, 2x, all the way up to 4x. So if you have Dr. Six selected, every time you hit that side ramp, it's going to award you 2 lights instead of 1. So it's going to go up 1x instead of a half x. And then it's going to hold that longer. So it counts down if you haven't made the side ramp shot in a while. The multiplier starts to time out. So not only does it build up faster, it lasts longer. So I tend to start with Dr. Six. And the other doctors do other various things. Dr. 1 helps you on your video mode, and other doctors help you do other things like transmat other doctors or just give you more points for shots, things like that. So there's a lot of interesting scoring strategy in this game. It was kind of like Game of Thrones or Pirates of the Caribbean before those games existed. It is the first game that I can think of that has that kind of decision making to do before you even start plunging the ball.
So I just want to address a question in chat. So Obi Drunk Kenobi says, how do you feel about swapping those lightning flippers to the original intended full-length flippers? So I don't know too much about this. I vaguely remember, I guess the game was originally designed with normal flippers and they switched them at some point.
The story that I'm recalling, I don't know if this is true, right or not, but especially when it came to international play, they wanted the games were taking too long. So the lightning flippers were a way to reduce ball times, keep the money coming in. So a lot of times you'd see mods like that or changes like that from manufacturers after they got a game on location and got feedback from operators. I personally like it with the lightning flippers. I don't think it's a game I've had in my collection for a long time, so I know how my specific game plays a lot. So I'm very familiar with it. I kind of know the bounces and how it flows and things like that. I know where the shots are, so I don't mind having the little extra challenge of the lightning flippers. Mine actually did ship with, when I bought it, it had the longer flippers on it, and then I swapped them out. So I've played it both ways, and I'm fine with it the way it is like this. You can hit all your shots. It just makes it a little more challenging, a little harder to slap save the ball and keep the ball in play. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I always my default is like, well, what did the designer want on it, or what does the designer say? I mean, if Barry Alzer comes out and says, "Hey, look, this game should be played with normal flippers. I didn't design the game with lightning flippers. That's how it should be played." Then there's something to it. Normally I would say if somebody takes a game and they put normal flippers on it and it was designed for lightning flippers, then you're cheating, right? You do what you want with your game, but you're not playing that game anymore. You're playing something totally different. This is, I guess, a weird situation because I'm always familiar with this game of lightning flippers. Like, that's how I think of this game. I think of it as lightning flippers, and I think most of the ones I've seen, somebody pointed out every picture on Pinside as lightning flippers. That's what I know it as. So this actually becomes into a weird thing. I think it's possible to justify using normal flippers on it, and I wouldn't call you a cheater like I normally would. Again, if Barry Alzer, I wonder what he thinks about it. Somebody reach out to him. He's on Facebook, and then share it with us in the Discord or something. It's really nice when you can ask the designer, what do you think? You design it this way. This is how it's shipping, or this is how it's mostly known or played as. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm always like how the artist intended, right? There's something to be said about playing it in their vision.
Yeah, I took the center post out of Hobbit because everybody at JJP, like Joe Katz and Eric Vinny, are like, no center post. Take the center post out. This game doesn't need a center
post at all.
There's no center
post.
Center
post is like a handicap accessibility. Like, it's like, oh, if he fucked up and this game needs a center post.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like 4 locations, because there's so many times you're shooting those center ramps, and if the game isn't set up right, it's going to just shoot it right down the middle if you like do a half shot up the center ramp. So I wonder if whoever made that call,
who knows what the hell
was
Joe
like,
Balser was doing.
Yeah.
Put that in there.
let's put that in there and whatever. But but again, it's like, set your games up however you want. If you want to start out with standard size flippers on Doctor Who, and then after a while you're like, oh, I'm getting pretty good at this, let's swap them out and try the lightning flippers and see how you like it, then it's your game. Play it how you want.
Yeah, I can always see going down and making a game harder, right? Like, I respect that. Oh, the game's too easy, I'm gonna make it harder. I when somebody's swapping out and making it easier, I'm a jerk and I say you're cheating.
And you tell them they have baby games.
And I tell them they have baby games, and I shame them a little bit.
That's right.
Stop being a baby.
little
Get
bit of shame.
better. All right. I don't care if you're miserable playing your fucking game that you spent $7,000 on. You're gonna fucking play it, and you're gonna get better and stop complaining. And you'll thank me one day if you don't sell the game and get upset. You're welcome.
Thank you, Nick. All right, let's finish up the rules.
I'd make a good parent.
You would. So I consider there are three main ways to attack this game, rules wise. You're going for score anyway, but there's three kind of scoring strategies you can go for. You can go for loops. You can loop all day. Loops with the who combo to kind of, once you get 10, your playfield multiplier up and you get the 10 loops, then you hit the who combo and get like 120 million points. It's great. Great feeling. Good way to approach the game. I always remember you telling me, like, when you first played this in a tournament, somebody told you to just go video mode all day, which is another valid strategy, especially if you get your multiplier up, because multiplier applies to video mode as well.
Yeah, I mean, this game, you got to give a lot of credit to the software, especially, again, framing things at its time. It's like revolutionary, right? This is the first game that I'm aware of that lets you like modify the game by choosing like a different character or setup. Maybe there's another one that exists, but I don't think so. I mean, we see this reiterated in Game of Thrones, and then of course Pirates of the Caribbean, which Heath took it to the next level, made it amazing. But like, this was like a revolutionary idea. I can change the way the rules are, modify the rules, or get perk or benefit by choosing a different character. Fantastic. I mean, way ahead of its time. And what's really good about the rules is that there's not just one way to approach it. It makes it a very interesting tournament game. You always kind of got to think, how do I want to play this? Am I feeling like I'm in a rhythm and I can hit combos all day? Then you focus on the booms and stuff like that. Do I want to try maybe the longer play, which is maybe arguably safer in going through the video mode because I got the video mode memorized, right? Do I want to play it that way, or do I want to go the time expander multi-ball? So do I want to try to get my multiplier way up before I go to multi-ball, or just do a quick grab and go and just try to get some points on the board? That's fantastic. And a lot of games at the time aren't like that, right? It's a lot more linear and basic. So this game was, I think, just way ahead of its time in many ways, and deserves that acknowledgement, to the point where we're kind of using some of these like base layer rules today.
Yeah, and that's the third way to approach this game. So you got your combos, your root ramps, you've got your video mode, and the third is your multi-ball. You want to go for multi-ball. It's dangerous to shoot that stand-up bank, but if you got Dr. 7, he helps you out with that. And if you get your playfield multiplier up, it applies to the scoring on your jackpots. So you can get huge points doing it there. And then there's also, that's like you can get to Battle Davros. So if you want to like play through the story of the game, that's where you want to focus.
It does have a wizard mode, right? You'd say that?
I guess, yeah. Like the Davros battle is like the wizard mode, but it's just getting enough multi-ball jackpots. There's not modes in it to get through.
That's right.
And I've never done that. Like I've never gotten all the way through because it gets really hard. So it's got longevity. There's still something in there I haven't done. It stays in my collection for that purpose. It's just a fun scoring game. Versus a mode-based game. The theme is fun. I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan, but I can appreciate it. The theme integration in the game. I think they did a good job all around and bringing it in. So I think I gave the score first last time. We want to have Nick do the first score here?
Sure. Yeah. This my inclination is to give it an 8, maybe an 8.5, right? So It's I mean, for the time.
Yeah.
For the time, this is just a really impressive game. I think it's still priced at a great deal of, $3,000 to $3,500 if you can pick it up. It's challenging. There's multiple ways to play it. It's got really good theme integration. It's hard to really slag it on anything. I mean, we've talked about some of the limitations with the sound. The backglass is not that great, but it's really good. And I'm not super into these 90s games when I think you get something better today with today's technology and stuff, but man, this game deserves a lot of credit. So I'm going to be a little conservative and say 8, but at 8.5 is not out of the realm, and it's definitely one that if somebody was saying, hey, I'm thinking about getting a Doctor Who, I would say, look, go for it. I don't see how you can go wrong with Doctor Who. You can get one for a good price. It's a great game. It's challenging. multiple ways to approach it. I think that I'd give it a little higher if it had more. It's funny to say modern rules because I think again in some ways it was ahead of time, but if it had like layers of like wizard mode and a little bit more, right, that would pump it up more. If the digital sound quality, if this game came out a couple years after when it was released, the sound would have been better, right? So there's some things that just hold it back from kind of getting a higher rating, but a very, very, very solid 8, and a game I certainly recommend to people.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So, this game it's one of the last remaining real bang for your buck games, I think. That's actually good. You can get DMD games for like Street Fighter 2 for probably $1,500 still, but there's a reason why, right? Because that game is not fun.
Garbage.
This is a great game that you can still get for a reasonable price, reasonable in quote unquote pinball terms. I was thinking a little less. I would probably put a 7 on this. I don't know. Just you got to put a number on it. And that's where my gut was.
Don't overthinking it. Yeah. So I go gut with the numbers
Mm-hmm.
after I talk, and you can kind of suss out how we feel about the game. And we talk about and spend 30 minutes talking about everything else individually. Did we talk about the topper? That Donnie mentioned the topper.
Oh, we didn't.
And I can't believe this would have been.
I took a picture
huge,
of it too.
This would have been the worst review ever if we didn't talk about the topper.
All right,
That's
let's jump
another
back to
huge
it.
element.
Here, I got a picture. Where is it? There he is. So there's a Dalek topper. I think I mentioned it. That it taunts you when you get the multi-ball lid. He starts yelling at you and it lights up. And this is one of the really neat features of the Comet upgrade kit. Was it? So there's usually just like 4 standard bulbs that sit in front of it. Just behind there's a decal in the front, and we got the LEDs where you can point it up at the Dalek. So not only does he light up really cool, but there's this reflective paper in the back that kind of makes it look like a star field in there. It's really, really a cool effect. And so the first 100 games of this that got released actually have a moving Dalek topper. So it was designed to turn back and forth when it talks. And so you'll see some of the prototype games out there, or early production run games with the moving topper. There have been a few add-on kits that you can modify the existing Dalek if you've got one that doesn't move, because the software is still in the game to make it turn. You just need to have the right hardware in there, and the places where you plug it in on the motherboard are still in there. So you can upgrade it. It's very cool. One of the first really cool toppers, I think, and it does its job of drawing attention at the arcade, right?
Yeah, this game was impressive for its time. I don't think it gets enough credit sometimes, and it's only when we start talking about it, it's like, man, the rules were innovative, and the topper was like one of the best toppers. I mean, this might have been the best topper to date when it came out.
Yeah.
So yeah, they kind of crushed it with this game. I don't know, Kevin. I'm a little surprised, like a little bit, not a ton. I'm a little surprised though that we've not seen another Doctor Who machine from a company, because Doctor Who is it has a good amount of popularity to it, right? It's been such a long running series. It's still current. But there's also the nostalgia. I'm surprised we haven't seen another one.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good theme to redo.
I feel like if properties like Rick and Morty can get a theme, a machine these days, then certainly something with the heritage of Doctor Who can. It kind of checks all the boxes that pinball licensors look for. It's sci-fi. It's got nostalgia. It's also got modern connections. So if you look at games like Walking Dead or Deadpool, those are more modern takes. But Deadpool also has a long history too. So yeah, I'd be and there's all these other Doctors that this was based on the first 7 Doctors. There've been a whole run of new shows with new Doctors that you could bring in that kind of take it to the next level. Yeah,
I think we're due. Right, I'd love to see again. I'm hoping Stern, or even if JJP made, that would be.
Yeah,
I think because there's a lot of content in Doctor Who where you can kind of you kind of have a lot of leeway in what you want to do with the machine. There's so many episodes, so many kind of crazy sci-fi things in there that you can have a lot of fun with it and make some really cool plays too.
And that was, here's one. We gave our numbers, but there's other stuff I want to talk about. So this game was the story of this game was designed to be its own independent episode of the show. So it's not like based on an episode.
Yeah,
I remember reading the design documents about it, and they approached it like, all right, let's write our own episode of Doctor Who that goes in this pinball machine, and it has to do with the Doctor or the Master and the time expander and all that stuff. They created all of this cool stuff just for this pinball machine. So really, really neat. A lot of cool thought behind this game, and really well executed. So check it out. If you see some on location, drop a quarter in it. If you find one for sale and it tickles your fancy, definitely Nick and I would both recommend adding this to your collection. All right. So before we get to the number one part of the show, Topper Talk with Warren, let's say goodbye for the month. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube if you want to see old archives of our content, or sometimes we do exclusive videos there, like our game room tours, or I did some item reviews. I want to do my P3 in-depth video. That's going to be the next YouTube video, I think. So
P3 between the sheets.
Yeah, that's right. Me and the P3 under the covers with the P3.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. We're also on Discord. You can follow us on Discord if you want to get in and share some haikus. Email us, talkpinball@gmail.com. If you want to support the channel, we got a PayPal. You can also follow and sub the Twitch channel. If you have Prime, you can do so at no extra charge. Help support us. We have the most number of subscribers we've ever had right now, which is outstanding. So thank you guys. And you can drop a review on your Apple iTunes or whatever podcast platform you listen to us on, and share us with a friend. All right. Nick, any parting words for the month?
No, just like I said at the top of the show, looking forward to getting together and playing pinball in person. So you're going to see in the next month. So I can't wait.
Yep. I look forward to bringing you guys some first impressions, some year-late first impressions of Avengers after I finally get to play it next week. I'm really looking forward to that.
Can't wait to start swearing again and playing pinball and slapping lockdown bars and then going over to Kevin's and examining all his pinball machines for cracks and defects.
I'll get a picture of it when it happens. All right, guys. Have a good month. We'll see you next time.
It's Topper Talk with Goren right now. Let's all have some fun. This is about plastic on top of your pin. Go and buy one now. There's a topper here and a topper there. Here a topper, there a topper, everywhere a topper. It's critical to the gameplay experience. You must buy one now. It's your monthly fill of toppers right now. Topper Talk with Goren. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Topper Talk with Goren, the part of the podcast where Kevin and Nick give me about 3 to 5 minutes to talk about everything happening in the very active and profitable Topper community. Today, we'll be talking about the Topper that really started it all for me, and that's the Beatles Topper by Stern Pinball. So let's head over to the computer and talk about that now. Okay, so let's dive into the Beatles Topper by Stern Pinball. This is the official image from Stern of the Beatles Topper. The MSRP of the Topper was originally $400 or $399 to be exact, and now you see them being resold for ridiculous prices. $400 is still pretty expensive for an accessory that goes on top of your pinball machine, but when you look at the way that pinball prices are going, it actually seems like $400 is a steal, although it's still expensive, and I fully recognize that. Beatles Topper doesn't contain too much. It's got a nice back piece of plastic, but it's in a thick housing. And then you have the 4 Beatles heads that are on sort of springs. They pop out a bit. You got your Beatles bass drum, and then Beatlemania at the bottom. I actually got a Beatles Topper. It was very hard to get. It took a while. They remade them luckily about a year ago, and I bought mine from Modern Pinball for $400. Here are photos after I unboxed it. You got a nice little mounting plate here. You can see more of this housing there. It was really easy to install, probably took me 10 minutes or so. No issues out of the box. And then here's a brief little video I took of it. You got some nice lighting effects. And I do really enjoy the Topper. It's expensive. It's plastic. I get it. But it really fits overall with the theme of the game. It doesn't, look ridiculous on top of the machine. The different Beatles will light up depending on different achievements inside of the game. And the other cool thing that I really like about the topper is that inside of the game, there's a Beatlemania rule set that basically gives you a mystery award to an extent by shooting the loops, but you never know how close you are to collecting Beatlemania. And you can now see that on the topper. You can see how many letters you've collected. They'll light up. The other cool thing is that they programmed in some date-specific things into the Beatles. So I think when it's a certain Beatles birthday, their head will light up more often in attract mode. It's just a really cool extra thing to go on top of your machine that really ties the theme together. So that's my position on the Beatles topper by Stern Pinball. I hope you enjoyed today's Topper Talk with Goren. Tune in to the next podcast for another episode. And as always, get out there and buy a topper. Thank you so much for coming to my Topper Talk.